This is it.
Communicate, please.
Thank you for the water.
Welcome, 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 everyone. Yes, it is a trailer park show. You're not seeing our faces yet, but we're here. Anyway, so
You're hearing our voices, whether you like it or not.
that's right, Pokey. That's right.
Exactly.
We've got some awesome people here that we just truly like, and we try not to be biased, but we do like them. So on my right, but really on the show on your left, it'll be James Dickey.
Good evening.
Yes, he says good evening. And then we have Andy Hogue here. And of course, we've got Michael here. And we've got Pokey here. So it's such an awesome evening. And you know, it's just the time of everything that we've been, not just us locally, but statewide and nationwide. It's just politics, and just not only that, but this the things we go through on a everyday basis, the things that we have to deal with. So tonight our show is just going to be a little bit of everything.
We thought we'd bring some actual officials from the Republican Party down here.
Yes.
These are our actual county officials, as we know. Don't worry for my Democrat friends. I heard you. I'm going to send them an email too and see about them for probably about 3 weeks, I think. We'll see if they'll even accept to come on or not, because, sometimes they kind of get mad at me. Anyway, so we thought we'd discuss some things about the party. As Marilyn Jackson says, there's all kinds of stuff going on out there.
Yeah, there is.
Of course, here in our county, with our new exciting chairman, I guess, coming up. You holding up okay? You only got a couple weeks left, I guess.
Exactly. My term ends June 12th, and so between now and then, just doing all the work I can to make sure that the executive committee is set really well and the party's set for a good next couple of years, regardless of who's chairman.
Well, I'm wondering where he's going to start having the meetings at, the landing strip, or going to bring any strippers now when they come, or what? I don't know.
Well, hopefully it'll been a great, reputable place.
So you don't have no fun at all. All right, Ma, I'll behave myself.
Yes, now that we're on camera.
Andy Hogue, Mr. James Dickey. Mm-hmm. He's the current outgoing, I guess you could say, chairman of the Travis County Republican Party. And you're the communications director?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. We did have your Democrat alternative on for the Uber Lyft.
Joe.
Yeah.
Well, was he on the wrong side of that?
Yeah,
he
quite
won.
a bit.
So,
well, yeah, but
it depends how you look at it.
You should have seen the comments on their Facebook page when they threw a party the night that thousands of Uber and Lyft drivers went out of work.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
They had a lot of normally Democrat constituents who were not very impressed with the fact that they were celebrating people being out of work.
I had heard that the party itself, when they went to endorse the no vote, that a lot of the county chairs, the precinct chairs, were upset about doing that they all, in fact, wanted to vote yes. But that the party overruled them, as the Democrats are liable to do every now and then. But we'll get to ask them when they come on their turn, I guess.
Exactly.
Look forward to that.
But there is a new company that I heard is just coming on board, Austin Ride.
Yeah, I mean there are a couple who are trying, but the reality is you can't reinvent the wheel overnight, and it's no coincidence that Uber in particular has literally a staff of PhDs figuring out demand, surge pricing, demand management, route management. I mean, just the work to figure out the best routes to get from one place or another, a massive technological skill required to do that, and then to manage all the complaints and everything. I mean, this is not a light thing. I mean, even to do it for just one city would take tens of thousands of man hours and a lot of really talented people. And how could you be able to put that together when the reality is, when the city ever comes to their senses, Uber and Lyft will be back in a heartbeat, and whoever goes to all that effort will be back out of their company will be toast. And so it is the city really painted themselves into a bad spot, and we are all, unfortunately, the laughing stock of the country as a result. I was in Dallas for the state convention week before last, And my hotel was a couple miles from the convention center, so I used Uber every day. And so I used it about 10 times, and every time I asked the drivers, and these drivers were, you know, one was a retired postal worker, one was a retired military guy, a couple were college students, another guy was just a guy between jobs. And in every one of those cases, I asked them, okay, you know, have you heard about Austin? They're like, they said, yes, absolutely, we've heard about Austin. What a mess. Why in the world would you guys do that? And then secondly, I asked them, okay, you know, you're driving for Uber, how long you been driving? And they averaged between 3 and 12 months that they'd been driving for Uber. And then I asked them, if you had to get fingerprinted to be able to be a driver for Uber, would you go ahead and do it? And every single one of them said no, not a chance. Yeah. They said it wouldn't be worth the hassle, wouldn't be worth the wait. In all those cases, all 10 of them, they said, they gave me days ranging from, 2 days to 6 days of how long it took them to get up and running to be a driver. And they said, no way, a wait of over a week, which you'd have to do the fingerprinting and get background checked with fingerprinting. It would just take too long, they just wouldn't bother.
But that's what the city of Austin wants to do.
Yeah, well, and we see how that's the irony, right? So they forced this change because it was so desperately important that we must have fingerprints.
Hold
And
on
yet,
a minute.
right now, there's no fingerprints.
Making noise that you want to show off her T-shirt.
I'm just standing over here looking at it.
What does your T-shirt say?
Oh,
I was born in Steelers.
for you
Yeah.
who don't know, this
I'm a
is our
Cowboys
producer.
fan.
So she's got free reign of the show, but I'm not sure why she's coming here showing off this
Because I'm
Yeah.
standing here
Steelers
looking
shirt.
glamorous.
She came in to get the correct spelling for Andy's
Oh,
name.
my
so-
She's
goodness.
the stealer of the show. Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, there
she
you go.
stole the show.
Ba-dum-bum.
Yes, she did.
Ba-dum-bum.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
back to the taxi
that's
cab.
the irony, right? The city forced all this because they said it was so important. There's not a chance they could not continue letting Uber and Lyft not have fingerprints. But the reality is right now they're letting everybody not have fingerprints. So this thing that was so desperate that it was worth kicking Uber and Lyft out of town for actually didn't matter at all. It was all a fake. It was all a fraud.
Can I ask a question?
There may have been just one thing, though. I know the city want to put some fees and get some money
They
off
want to make
this
some
thing.
money
Oh
on it?
yeah, they
So-
want the money too.
There
But
you
Uber
go.
was willing to do the
I still
money
wanna ask
even
a
without
question.
fingerprinting.
Let me ask this here. Now, I know that you can get on your computer for a few dollars a month, one of these background check things. Employers have them.
Right.
You don't need nothing but a TDL number. What more can you get with fingerprints that you can't get with a TDL number?
And that was the argument of Uber and Lyft. They do a different way of verifying that it's you, right? Because the issue is just, okay, this driver comes in and says his name is John Smith. How do we know his name really is John Smith?
TDL
Well,
number.
In this, actually, Uber and Lyft use a different kind of thing, and for student loans, my kids had student loans. For student loans, they use a similar process. They run your credit, and then based on your credit, they find old addresses, and they'll give you a list and say, okay, on these 4 streets, which one did you live on? And these
You
4
gotta pick the
phone
right one, yeah.
numbers, which one was an old phone number of yours? And they run you through like 5 of those questions. And if you can get them all right in a really short period of time, then you're you, right? Then you're the person all that's about. Well, and that's the whole idea on the fingerprinting is you do the fingerprinting, you
Make
prove
sure-
you're actually John Smith, and John
now I
Smith's the one
understand.
getting a backtrack.
Make
But
sure
of
that
course,
TDL number belongs to you.
yeah, exactly. But of course, the irony is none of that proves that John Smith's the one driving the car. Where, you hop into a cab and yeah, there's somebody's name and picture there, but you don't know for sure that it was the person who was driving. At least with Uber and Lyft, you get their picture and you get the guy's name and you get his license plate number, and they know the license plate's registered to the same guy. And there's actually more security, and that's why this whole thing, it was never about security. It was about power. The city council wanted to be able to say, we're going to pick something, we're going to force an issue based on that thing because we get to say so. And the people who got mad were the people who got mad that Uber and Lyft didn't just take it. That they didn't just say, "Ah, you're right. You're the city council. You're all powerful. You know everything. You must know best. Therefore, we'll do it no matter what." And it was frustrating to watch. It was really frustrating to watch because Uber and Lyft handled the campaign very badly. Not surprising. I mean, Lee Leffingwell is a Democrat, and he did not handle the campaign well. But they put him in charge of the campaign. But the city council didn't handle it well either. They wanted to prove they had the power to force whatever they felt like. And they did, but we're all paying for it. They
I
got
just hope
drivers
that,
out
I
of
just
work.
wish that the voters had came out and voted against it. More had come out.
Yeah, if as many people had voted for Prop 1 as signed the petition, Prop 1 would have won handily. Yeah. But,
Wow.
but yeah, so that was a couple weeks ago.
Mr. Lee, anything you want to throw in there on that?
Well, isn't that the way liberalism works? The few elected elite know better than the people
Well.
Yeah,
and don't trust the people,
yeah.
whereas we as conservatives generally do. We generally leave it up to the people to decide rather than a few really bright few, so-called bright few.
Yep.
My question relates to what is the state of the Travis County Democratic Party in light of your defeat during the primary? We have
you
a
mean
new chair
the
coming.
Republican Party?
Republican Party.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we got a new incoming chair, and he's a colorful guy.
June
who
12th,
you guys have
June-
had
June 13th?
on the
When'd you take
program.
over?
June, perhaps, yeah.
His first day is June 13th.
June 13th.
And we've been working towards preparing for that time. The party's going to be fine. What most people don't realize is, unlike the Democrat Party, and the example you said of where the precinct chairs actually wanted to vote
Infighting that they
for,
wanted to vote one way
they wanted to
and,
vote for Prop 1 and they weren't allowed to. Well, in the Republican Party, the precinct chairs have all the power. And so the reality is precinct chairs have had the ability up till now, at any time, they could have exerted more control over the process if they wanted to. Now they're taking Robert at his word. Robert says he's not that interested in any focus on the day-to-day operations of the party. And so the precinct chairs, led by the transition committee, which is made up of elected precinct chairs, they're taking him at his word and saying, great, okay, if he doesn't want to get involved in that, well, we do. We care very much about that. So we're going to focus on that. We'll put together our own committee. We'll change the bylaws because we're the ones with the authority to do all that anyway. And they're just going to exert the authority they've had all along. They just didn't feel a need to exert before. So
Well, I had a follow-up question to that. There were some recent changes, I believe, at the state level regarding the operation of the Republican Party that bear on the issue that we have, does it not?
Well,
What
yeah, there were
what
actually-
were those changes?
Okay, so I served on the Rules Committee before our state convention last week, or week before last. And the Rules Committee, we met for about 40 hours before the actual convention started. And the way it works, there's one person from every senatorial district in the state, so there are 31 senatorial districts. And then we have a chairman. And we met to review the rules we've been operating under for the last couple of years, to make any changes we could make. We weren't allowed to make any changes to our national delegate stuff. But other than that, to make any changes we wanted to make, propose those changes had to be approved by the state Republican Executive Committee, which is made up of 2 people from every Senate district who are elected to 2-year terms. They voted on it, and then the body. And we had a voting strength of about 8,500. Is that right,
Wow.
Andy? Yeah, about 8,500
Wow.
people.
Depending
Yeah,
on what day, yeah.
the Texas Republican Party is very grassroots, right? So 8,500 people from all across the state. You were one, I was one. There were a bunch of people there, and they reviewed and voted on the rules, and those passed. And the theme of all the rules changes we did was really continuing to increase transparency and accountability. So, for example, our state Republican Executive Committee, all their final votes now have to be record votes. So you know how every one of them voted on every one, just like in Congress, we know how every one of them voted on every one. Same idea. We made it so that there's explicit authority for any member of any committee to be able to record proceedings of any of their meetings. So again, more transparency and accountability. Well, one of the changes in 2015, there was a law change that said that any precinct chair who misses 4 meetings in a row, there's a process for removing them from the office. The idea being that the party gets hurt if you've got a precinct chair who's just not doing anything, and we need to be able to replace that person. Well, there's also a provision for the same thing. If you have a county chair who has not followed, who has not fulfilled some of their statutory requirements or has missed 4 or more meetings in a row, there's a process for removing the county chair as well. Well, the new rule that got added, it added a couple extra provisions to that saying, or if they do something that causes embarrassment to the party, or if they do something in violation of our principles, you can trigger a process for removing them. Now, I'll tell everybody, the exact same thing I've been saying since minute one on this. It's good to have a provision like that in case you need it.
Yes.
But I strongly suggest that people find ways to work together without having the need to exercise something like that, right? Because for the party, for the Travis County Republican Party, the best thing that could happen for the party is for the party to just do its job and, keep its head down and be effective at recruiting new volunteers, recruiting new candidates, recruiting new precinct chairs, walking their territory, working on the election, recruiting voters, getting people registered, all the things they need to do, none of which really depends on the chair. So if the chair's focused on the stuff he cares about, which is, the stuff he cares about, and everybody else is working on all the things that the party needs to do on a day-to-day basis, it's quite possible that they can both be just fine and just not be in each other's way.
Fine and functionable.
Yeah, exactly. There's no requirement for, and I've had no conversation that led me to believe that the incoming chair has any proactive desire to harm the party. He may say stuff that we all find harmful, but his goal wouldn't be to try to harm the party. And so all of the day-to-day operation the party needs to do well, absolutely, the party has the ability to do it well, regardless of who's chair.
Now, James, you're going to the national convention. Are you looking forward to that?
Wait, Can I interrupt just a minute, and let's not go there yet? To go back one step,
Sure.
not personal, but it seems like we need the county chair for some kind of leadership or organizational, not to, personal about,
Sure.
without you there. Now, I only go back to as far as Alan Sager, which was before Dr. Edwards.
Right.
And of course, I had loaves to haul and beer to drink, so I really wasn't that much into it. But he would provide leadership, I guess you could call it. And of course, Rosemary, she was just great, we all thought. Look at all you've done. Now, I can understand the party can do the day-to-day things. But I also remember many times that Rosemary Edwards would wind up being swamped by people all wanting to have their way.
Exactly.
Don Zimmerman and her in the hallway. I remember that many times.
Yep.
And other people. So I guess I'm trying to ask, I don't know how to articulate it properly. Without a county chair leadership role, how are we going to function without a leadership role, without the governor to, keep us
Okay. Well, you're
all focused in, am I
you're
making
at-
any sense? Am I,
Oh, absolutely.
okay, thank you.
Absolutely, there needs to be a decision flow. There needs to be a process for doing that. There needs to be a process for expressing consolidated, conclusions that the group wants to exert. What is right now the recommendation of the transition committee, which we're going to be meeting Tuesday night, and we're going tomorrow. No, a week
next
from
Tuesday.
tomorrow.
Week from
A
tomorrow.
week from tomorrow to talk about is in our new bylaws what's going to serve a replacement function of that part of the county chair's duties
Yes, sir.
is a new executive vice chair position. And that executive vice chair will be nominated by a steering committee. So there's going to be a new steering committee that's made up of precinct chairs. That steering committee is going to recommend appointment of an executive vice chair that will, and both those will have to be approved by the precinct chairs. Just the existence is going to have to be approved, and then the committee's members are going to have to be approved, and then the executive vice chair is going to have to be approved. And that executive vice chair, who will be one of the elected precinct chairs, will serve the majority of the function, leading the meetings like I would have led the,
Yeah, yes, sir.
like I have been leading the meetings, working with the treasurer and the secretary of the party like I have worked with the treasurer and secretary of parties. So that there's just going to be a different title for that function, and that function is going to be elected by the committee, which is elected by the EC from among their own members. So someone, yes, you need someone to take point, and someone will take point. I have no idea who, but what I do know is the Travis County Republican Party has a lot of really great people who are precinct chairs, who any one of which could step up and really make a big difference in this.
So somebody will rise up.
Somebody will rise up. And fortunately, one of the things I tried to do over the last couple of years is get as many people involved as possible and spread responsibility as much as possible so that as many folks as possible could be ready to step up when opportunity presented itself. I didn't think this would be the way it did, but I'm sure glad we got a 2-year head start on it.
So
I
when it
guess-
comes, oh, you go ahead.
Oh, no, when Mr. Morrow was on the show here, I recall his having said to me that I can continue to do what I've been doing, which I had
He
intended
did.
to do anyway.
Well, and that's a real point, right? You can continue to do what you've been doing regardless.
I'm going to do that anyway.
Exactly.
Sometimes it helps when I go places to be able to say the county chair is coming,
Right.
but I can leave that out. I have no problem flying by myself. I
The
don't have no
vice
problem
chair
with
is
that.
coming,
Right. Well,
My,
And I got to tell you, that has been one of the things, in all of this, one of the things that has comforted me is knowing that folks like you guys you've been doing your thing. I've been able to encourage you and try to help, but you guys have been the ones doing it, and we're not going anywhere. We're still here. So I know that the good work, the good hard work that needs to be done is going to continue. And that's regardless. Now, hopefully, whoever is this executive vice chair will do a great job of supporting all those efforts still. And the committee, there will be some new treasurer, there'll be some new secretary, there'll be some new, some people may continue in the same roles, but there could be different titles, there could be different roles, but all that's up to the new steering committee, and that's great.
well, I was not and am not too worried about it at all because, as a matter of fact, as far as outreach goes, my thing is I want to up the ante some.
You should. You absolutely should. And you should not, you've got the right attitude. You should not at all let any formal organization slow you down, or any lack of formal organization slow you down.
No, I will continue to go into hostile territory because I ain't
That's
scared.
what you do best.
I don't. I just don't have that fear in me.
It's missionary work, right? You are spreading the good word, different good word, but you're spreading good word.
Now, what about the fundraising?
Okay, so that's the other issue. So the executive committee is going to be looking at a new set of bylaws to change how the organization's set up. But there are two things that don't really get fixed by the bylaws. And one is the gap of time between when my term ends and when the executive committee is able to set up the bylaws, and the other is the need for fundraising. So definitely some donors have said, I've supported the local party, supported your team and what they've done, but don't feel comfortable continuing that with this new chair. And there's this up to 45-day window where the new bylaws may not be in effect and all that. So to address both those concerns, there is a recommendation by the transition committee to set up a separate legal entity to address both those. And the details haven't been announced yet, so there's still a lot I don't know. But at our meeting a week from Tuesday, the transition committee is going to make a presentation on that. And the idea for this separate legal entity is that it will have the ability to do separate, fundraising and spending and support of folks that the party might not necessarily be able to do on its own, even with the EC functioning well with their own bylaws.
Well, that's amazing. I was just thinking too about the recruiting of just the recruiting of some potential candidates.
Right.
I mean, anyway, so like you said,
Yeah, there's
the precinct chairs and everybody
not
else.
long
will
before we
do.
got to start looking for candidates again for the 18 election.
That's correct.
Absolutely. Yeah, that process does really
It starts
almost
early.
already need to start, yeah.
And this is going to be my challenge as the communications director. We do have some donor relations problems. It's missionary work, but you still have to make the missionary push. You got to set up a tent rally and bring in the crowds, right?
Some of them are going to
Well.
look at our new chair and say, I don't want none of that.
Right.
And you're going to have to convince them that,
But POKEY, we're bigger than that. We truly are
Exactly.
bigger than that. Matter of fact, that should be a slogan.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
we're
I
bigger
don't
than.
know, the
not-
way he likes big, what's to go around there.
Well, hey, let's be real here, okay?
Okay, get my mind out of the gutter, you mean? We are talking about, never mind.
No, but
no,
Andy's
we're-
right,
we're
the
bigger,
party
Bob.
is bigger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're bigger than one elected official. We're bigger than one person's reputation. And frankly, we're a lot bigger than just, our organization. We represent people. Precinct chairs represent their
Yeah.
neighborhoods and their communities.
That's true.
So when we get out there and say, no, I guess we just got to hunker down for 2 years and, zero out the bank account, absolutely not. We're still the Republicans of Travis County, whatever we call ourselves. And we're bigger than that.
We're bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a mission.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Yes, yes.
Well, I look at this one
Okay,
the way
Mr. Lee.
I look at on the national level. We have a war to fight. We may not have had a general that we may have wished to have had,
Right,
but just because you don't have the general you want, that doesn't mean you just surrender in the war.
right.
You
You
keep
walk off the
you keep
battlefield.
fighting.
We thought about surrendering,
keep
but
fighting,
we
no.
have to.
No, I never thought about it.
I mean,
We
oh
got
my
to.
God! But we have to keep going. You're absolutely right.
We
Yeah.
can't do anything really bad under the eyes of the enemy.
No.
They're all watching us.
Yes.
I'm like, is this a dream?
They don't have to go
It-
far to
it's
watch me.
real.
I'm usually in the hood. They can find me.
Yeah, dear Lord,
I'm not hiding from anybody.
Find you in the hood.
That's right.
radio and
Everybody from here to Jerusalem knows what happened. We got on.
that was amazing. I
That
didn't
is
realize
true.
it was that far, but sure enough.
Now imagine what would happen if we turned it around. If we said, okay, we just raised $100,000. We just had somebody say we got Carly Fiorina to speak. Say we just absolutely turned this thing around and elected a few Republicans between the time Robert Morrow finally ends his term. Wouldn't that just turn the thing around completely?
It would.
The media may not report on it,
We did
but
kind
Right.
of,
But we know.
that's right.
Yeah.
we
Our
did
donors
kind of
would know.
touch on that, like maybe there's something we can do with this new chair that maybe there's a usefulness we ain't found yet.
What's a challenge we just have to answer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's bound to be good at something. I mean, something worthwhile.
Well, no one block walks better than Robert Morrow. On certain issues, he's been a dynamo.
He's
opposing
been out
bonds
there on
and-
the
yes.
street. He went up there to Crawford to protest George Bush, and he compiled a bunch of people to go with him.
Right? Well, that's
No,
right.
but Andy's point is right. The Travis County Party, the Republican Party of Texas, the National Party, in all cases, they're bigger than any one candidate. They're bigger than any one issue.
Tenfold.
It is really a philosophy and a way of life that we know produces a better result for all people,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We know that if conservative principles are lived out and conservative principles are put into practice by government, then everyone is better off.
That's true.
And that is bigger than any of us. I mean, that's one of the reasons why, I wish the election had turned out differently, but I have confidence that this will be okay because this is much bigger than any of us.
Let's show them.
Exactly.
That's why
The
we have
proof
party.
will be in the pudding. Yeah.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
So we just need to
Preach it.
we need to just do what it is that we're called to do.
Come on.
Exactly.
Do what we need to do our part, and it will continue coming together.
Yes, it will.
Well, I've listened to my heroes like Rick Perry and Dr. The black doctor, what's his name?
Carson.
Which one?
Carson.
Ben Carson.
Dr. Carson. And they both say get behind Trump, so
Yeah, and
Well,
friends
you know,
that are hardcore
Never
Cruz
Trump.
people, but he's not gonna make it.
I gotta tell you, this. This one just hit me maybe a day and a half ago. I don't think there's anything I'd enjoy saying more than to the Democrats than you're fired.
Well, it's gonna have to be other people actually do that.
He better say that. If he
I'll
wins,
say
he
it.
better say that.
yeah, you better.
That's true. He can say that to
Yeah, that would make it all worthwhile for me.
a lot of staff
Get
people
you
and
fired. Get
to
the
this AG we have, and
Yeah.
can't say that a lot. I'm thinking Trump may have trouble. You can't go in the house and sit and say you're fired.
Right.
That's true. Those guys are elected, or those
Yeah.
people are elected.
I would like to see him do a little more, but
Yeah.
Well, it's one thing conventions are good at. It's good at it's another step you got to go through after you become the heir apparent to the throne. You
Yeah.
have to keep look at his Supreme Court nominee picks. Don Willa, for
Oh.
instance. You know that was a kowtow to us. I don't think he's serious about that, but he says, "Hey, who's that Twitter guy?" You know, he's doing things to win us over before convention, so we can enter convention, be excited about our nominee, and go forward to beat Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. And I say Bernie Sanders, I hope we can run against the communists. That'd be a great contest. We'd win that one hands down. But I do think that's part of convention is an essential part of that process. And so if we wait until after convention to all come around Donald Trump, it looks a lot better than just surrendering, like we said earlier.
Right.
You know, we should actually support Trump because he's our nominee, not just because it's inevitable. That doesn't look good for any of us, unless you're truly a Donald Trump
Okay.
supporter. I think we ought to just hold off till convention, not take a side. Local parties, really, I think we shouldn't take a side in primary contests.
No, we shouldn't.
Right, and so we got to let the convention have its way and see what happens there. I don't know if a non-Trump candidate has a chance. I'm not going to speculate on that, but I do think there's a lot of things that could happen. And once we get that all out of the air, that's the time we need to just really 100% rally around the nominee.
well, I'd voted for Carson because Perry was already gone by the time it came to Texas. So
Hey, I like
I
Bobby
was really
Jindal
in trouble.
myself, personally.
which
But
one?
Bobby Jindal, I really liked him. He
Yeah,
had some
he
good
was
policy.
too.
You don't like Ted Cruz?
Yeah, I was gone for Ted Cruz if I thought that. I don't know.
I wrote in James
I
Dickey
wanted to
that
get somebody, who-
Getting back locally,
Yeah, let's
I
get
think
back to-
that we need to
but we do got to talk about him going to national. Of course, I know that.
redouble our efforts to help our candidates locally
Yes.
in any and every way possible.
And we have some really good local candidates. I've
And
been
there's some
very
races that we
impressed.
have some decent shots in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish people would get a bit more excited about that.
Yeah, Maura Phelan for
Yes,
DA
yes.
is one that I'm very excited about. She has been working very hard and doing a lot of outreach, doing a lot of appearances, and she is absolutely by far the more qualified of the two candidates.
Yes.
And
She would make a great DA.
You mean that's somebody that broke out of retirement after 30 years, hadn't been in the courtroom in 30 years is not better? You got it.
yeah, yeah. Apparently, last criminal case was something like 35 or 40 years ago.
Wow,
Holy cow.
a lot has changed.
She wants to be our DA.
Don't think I was
Yeah.
born yet.
Yeah. So, and Maura's got good experience in a couple of different DA offices, so she's seen good management and bad, and knows the difference and knows how to do it, and would do very, very well.
Should be good.
What about Gabriel Neela? He's got the chance against
Yes.
Donna Dukes, who's getting a lot of negative publicity lately.
Yeah, Gabriel is also one of those candidates out there working really hard, working to represent his district and really represent that
Awesome.
district. In the meantime, yeah, Donna Dukes is using state money to pay people to babysit her kids. It's really a mess, and
That's always fun.
that also happens to be illegal.
Wish I could do that. That'd be nice.
Gabriel, of course, was long involved here at this show.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I always bragged about him. He's a quintessential American experience. He worked his way through college, took 7, 8 years.
Yeah, that's
He
my
got
story.
a job teaching at-risk youth at middle school level. And he's going to night school to get a PhD in education administration. So,
Yep.
and he's running for
Well, and District
state.
46 has lacked leadership for too many years.
It has.
I mean,
Far too long.
Right. I mean, just because you're an incumbent, that doesn't mean that you're there for the people.
She was all party. She'd vote whatever way they told her if she showed up at all.
Well, that's the last session, something like she was only there a few days out of the entire session. It was really pretty bad.
Wow.
I like our sheriff. How can we help? Our sheriff is the alternative. Sally Hernandez is just not very pleasant at all.
Well, and Joe Martinez, he has a long history of
Long
serving
history.
in
Speaks
law
Spanish.
enforcement. He's got the right temperament for the job, really, and also is another one of those candidates out there working really hard. It's good to see.
He's a private investigator, so he knows how to get in there and
Sally
dig,
Hernandez has just come right out with all the Democrats and said that she will not honor the ICE for detainers. And Joe said he will. The current sheriff does too.
Yep.
That's why he's a Democrat, and that's why the Democrats gave him so much hassle.
But you know, he's supporting our candidate for constable.
Yeah, well, I'm
Dick
hoping
Pierce,
they'll
yes.
support our candidate for sheriff too, but we'll see.
What
That's right.
precinct is
Deke-
that constable
Deke
that
Pierce.
is?
Precinct 2, I believe, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he
Oh,
had the most
Dickey.
ambitious fundraiser a couple of weeks ago. He rented out a bar near Pflugerville and had Sonny Sweeney, a up-and-coming country singer. It was the most ambitious. They had a car
Wow.
show, barbecue. It was
I remember.
never seen a fundraiser like that. That wasn't a Reagan gala anyway. So
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
was sorry I couldn't make that. How was it?
yeah, it was all right. I had to leave. I had a 2-year-old that was getting near nap time, so we
Yeah.
took him to Gaddy Land and went home.
Oh,
But it was a good time though.
Yeah,
I was
we had a
talking
prior
friends, yeah.
commitment, and that was the Uber election day too. So that was it was a busy day. But
Well, me and Andy had talked out there before about supporting our candidates, and I told you about how I go to Facebook and look at pictures of the opposition. How can we get more people out to support our candidates? At things like his fundraiser, a lot of people showed up, but at the same time,
Well, look at how Ron Paul motivated people. I'm not going to take a side on the libertarian, conservative, neocons,
Yeah.
wars within our party, but look how he won over hearts and minds. He had clear set values. He wasn't a hypocrite about it. He was consistent to it, even to the point of annoying his peers, like when Ted Cruz did his filibuster, he didn't win any friends by doing that, but at the same time, people thought this man knows what he's doing. He means what he's saying, and that's what we need more of. Genuine, honest, consistent people with a strong record. And dare I say, we've kind of lacked that lately, of having that record behind our
Yes.
candidates. Barack Obama kind of broke the rule there. I mean, we elected somebody that nobody had even heard of 2 years prior. I mean, who could tell you who Barack Obama was? I called him Barack Obama when I first read his name. And that's not how you pronounce it, Andy. I'm like, well, I'm so sorry. I never heard of the guy. 2 years later, he's my president. So I think a lot of that has changed. But what we need to do is build up our farm team. Get guys like Gabriel Neela and Cesar Raiz and Deke Pierce elected. Get their histories, get their
Yes.
voting records solid, and say that, hey, these are the real conservatives. These are the ones that are not only cutting taxes, but also cutting programs. These are the ones that are cutting spending as well. These are the real conservatives. We can trust them, and they might even have a Ron Paul revolution behind them to sweep them into office. Maybe they might even take that sweet spot between neoconservative, classic conservative, and libertarian, and find us a whole new winning majority.
that would be great.
That's what Ronald Reagan did.
so we're
That's
gonna
right.
have half the party out for Juneteenth at our booth, right?
I hope so.
yes, looking forward to that. I wasn't able to be last year, but I'll be
I
there.
can't, I
this year.
can't tell you. I urge you to come. It's going to be a party. That's all I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be a party. The
Fantastic.
party's going to be on.
I might
Amen.
find a babysitter.
I got you. I got you.
Well, you're gonna be kind of busy though.
I'm going to come by and pick you up and bring you down to the booth.
I
And
can get I have to have my walker again, and I just have to put it under shade tree somewhere. Miles already saying no, barbecue smoke and all this kind of stuff. I said, no, I gotta be there at least for a while. So,
Oh, you got there, folks.
yeah, she's not calling you. They hear that.
One of
That was-
those.
Oh, she's texting
Motor
me,
razor?
though.
It's not even a smartphone. It's already smarter than I am.
Oh, my goodness. But there's a lot of things in the works that are getting
Absolutely.
ready to happen. We just truly appreciate everything that y'all have done, during this time that y'all have been there, and will continue to do. It's just awesome. I mean, it's just something that comes natural. You have the passion to do it, and you just do it, huh?
That's right. When are you going to run again?
Maybe in a couple of years, maybe.
We'll be ready for you.
I'll be ready. I'm
Kinda busy.
ready for y'all to be ready for me too.
Amen. We need everybody watching this to donate to the whatever the Travis County Republican Party is for the next 2 years. The friends.
Absolutely.
Yes, we need to build our
Yeah.
farm team up. We don't have time to waste.
Yes.
Yeah, we have, there are donate buttons on the website at traviscountygop.com. That's right.
Oh, we can't talk
And,
too much about donating. Is that what you're saying, Andy? Bob?
Oh. Breaking the nonprofit rules.
That's all right.
Good thing it's live TV.
Go down there
Exactly.
and find out how to help.
What we do, yeah, exactly. Go to our
That's
website and
right.
figure out what you want to do.
Well, the point I
But-
was trying to bring up is how the opposition brings out a lot of people to support their candidates. My constables got pictures with Senator Gonzalez Barrientos, Kirk Watson, the past and present movers and shakers of the Democrat Party seem to show up at all these events for even JP candidates and stuff like that. I don't know if that really helps or not, but it's impressed me anyway.
Yeah, they make a presence.
They make
Yeah,
a presence and
we have
There's
kind of a
strong party in
hands-off
this
model,
county.
right? So if our approach has been up till now that if a candidate's running wants that input, then it's really on them to contact the campaigns of those elected officials and get that support. I can tell you that for county party stuff, when I asked for support, I almost always got it. So the Republican elected officials are very supportive, but they've got a whole list of other things on their own plate. You really have to reach out. You have to be proactive and reach out and ask for what you want.
maybe
Yeah.
schedule your stuff around some of their calendars too for Congressman Doggett to help show up at some of these. I'm thinking Congressman Doggett's out here for a constable candidate, and we can't even get Anyway,
We're also a
and
very diverse
my point
party as
is,
well.
it's not that I think we can't get them. I'm not sure anybody's asked.
you're right. We're
And
not
so
quite as
I
intuitive
would
as they are,
I would
yes.
assume that somebody didn't ask before I would assume that they were turned down.
We also work for a living as part of the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the part I've always
Yeah.
tried to point out that,
We got
50,
families.
60 hours a week, and you got families, and then you're still gonna. I was telling Mike, I used to have to find somebody to haul my loads, and then I'd go park my dump truck and I'd run off down to City Hall or something,
Yeah, it is a challenge for sure. There are a lot of people on the opposite side who literally get paid to do political work. I mean, I don't know how much you guys know, but the city of Austin spends a few $100,000 a year of your tax money to pay police workers to go do union work.
No.
Yeah.
How do I get one of them jobs?
Yeah, they not
Gotta be a
not
popo.
to not to be policemen, not to actually work the not to work the job of keeping us all
My
safe,
goodness.
but to actually go work for the union, whose job is to try to get more money out of the taxpayer. So we're spending $500,000 a year of taxpayer money on police staff specifically not doing their job, specifically working for the union. And we're getting hit with the bill. And far too much of, far too many Democrats have figured out ways to make taxpayers pay for them to work to be Democrat. And that's, some people would say it's a nice gig if you can get it. No, it's taking money out of the taxpayer's pocket. It's not
Taxpayer-funded lobbying.
appropriate.
It's usury.
It really is. It's completely inappropriate, and I hope that the legislature does something about it.
And then for the police department, they have needs. I mean, it's just the fiscal responsibility. Really, I'm assuming probably on our city manager's part. I'm not sure if he's the one that writes the checkbook, but
Yes.
you need to take that out of that budget and supply the needs that the
can't
policemen
bear-
have.
Yeah,
That's
true.
and then use it for that. I mean, that
Can we show the
really.
logo on live TV?
Yeah. Yeah, it is frustrating to see the city,
these logos around.
waste money,
like
hundreds of
that.
thousands of dollars
We
at a
waste it,
time.
don't we?
And then the irony is now there's a big concern about affordability, right? So, oh my gosh, things are not affordable. Well, yeah, because you're charging far too much for energy, and you're charging far too much for water. You've got all these monopoly businesses, only they're not businesses. They're insider operations with no desire to really serve customers, right? No profit motivation that forces them to be sensitive to customer needs.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But instead, they're slush funds for the city council to do whatever they feel like with.
Can
so
I
they're
ask-
off spending millions on artwork.
Can I segue on that a little bit? What about affordability? We're talking about
yes.
just pricing people out through the corporate establishment cabal. And it seems like
Me and
Don
my wife
Zimmerman,
are
Ellis
starting to feel
Prospero,
this.
yeah, they have found alliances with Ona Houston and a lot of your East Side liberals on issues like the downtown courthouse, which was in a horrible location for parking purposes,
Yep.
especially a family court for crying out loud. How do you get your stroller out and go 15 blocks just without Uber, too? Uber and Lyft. I mean, we might be finding a whole new coalition with progressive Democrats that understand affordability and understand, civil liberties. Well, we're your party. We might not share a lot of social values in common, but man, tell you what, when it comes to tangible local issues, we might be your logical companions.
We've
Well,
made a headway in that to some degree on the
think
east
so.
side.
Yeah.
We see more and more of them are, well, I won't get a personalized stories, but more of them are beginning to see that they got what they asked for,
Yeah.
and it wasn't quite the way it didn't
Well,
play out the way they wanted.
Yeah, I mean the irony is pretty thick, and the solution is pretty simple. If you want housing to be less expensive, stop enacting rules that makes building a house more expensive, right? I mean it's
That's true.
that easy,
Yeah.
and yet the city council is tying themselves all in knots. Same with Uber and Lyft; they're tying themselves all in a knot now. They took this unreasonable stance. They forced out the best companies in the space, the best, cheapest, most affordable solution in the space. They forced them out, and now they're talking about, oh well, maybe now we'll deregulate stuff, or maybe now we'll actually start a company, an Austin-run company to do Uber and Lyft, right? Or we'll encourage people to start up a new one. And it's Austin Energy all over again.
We
Which,
just need to
yeah,
get some
yeah.
of our people more in city council.
Here
We
we are.
got two, let's get 2 or 3 more.
We need more.
And who puts a cap, a limit on the rent market? I mean, for it to just continue to rise and rise and rise, and then the city of Austin talk about affordable housing, how are they going to bring that?
Well, the easiest way to lower the cost of rent or to stop it from rising is to introduce new competition on rent, right? So the easiest way to keep rent from going up is to have a few thousand new apartments pop up.
That's right.
Because then you've got a few thousand more competitors for the place you're renting from.
But if you
right?
build in Austin,
And
that's
so the
24
landlords-
different entities you have to get an okay from just to build
Right.
a house.
Yeah, so that's the problem
Yeah.
is Austin makes it so
crazy.
hard to build new units that the people who already have units, they can raise rates and raise rates without the people who live there having really any option.
You hear that, Mom?
Where if Austin will get out of the way and let builders build new spaces and stop putting all sorts of
over the
requirements
place.
on, you can only use this much of the lot for parking, and but you can only have this much of the facade can be garage, but so they stack all these requirements on, and the next thing you know, property that you could have built for $60 a square foot, you're now having to build for $150 a square foot, and guess what? It has to rent for a whole lot more.
That's right.
And when that space that finally gets built a few years from now, by then it's too late. We've already grown so much, it doesn't really help. And
no
it's,
Airbnb.
It's expensive.
Can't rent it out for South Bay.
Yeah. So the city just piles on these. It is no coincidence that the least expensive average housing in the U.S. of a major metropolitan city was Houston, which up until just a few years ago had no zoning.
Yeah, it was no zoning all its life.
No zoning.
That's amazing.
Build anything you want anywhere.
And it is not a coincidence. There's a direct causal relationship. The city didn't screw with what you could do with your land, and as a result, houses were more affordable. Now here, we got a city council micromanaging everything in sight, and housing's getting less and less affordable by leaps and bounds, far faster than it would be necessary given the growth of the population. Far faster. And it's because of this growth of regulation.
Oh, my
Here, here.
goodness. I mean, if they could take their hands out of so many things that they're in, they could really govern the way that they should.
Oh, this is
Exactly.
the
I mean-
injustice. The affordable apartments are on East Riverside if you want to live near downtown. What are they doing to East Riverside? They're about to tear it all up and make it like the new domain
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
with our tax dollars.
Yes.
And meanwhile, spending money for affordable housing, which, as we know in the Austin American Statesman, has been a complete facade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're spending money to lose money.
$1,200 for an efficiency?
It's ridiculous.
Oh
But the
my
free
goodness.
market could send it right back down to 800. When I first moved to Austin, my one bedroom with hardly even a door over the bathroom was 600. That same unit is now $920 with a 1-year waiting list.
1 year waiting.
Yes, and
list.
that's within a 2-year difference, by the way. I moved out for a while, and I moved back, and I said, hey, I want my old apartment back. I see it's empty. They go, well, it's going to cost you now. So I don't think you can afford it. And I said, yeah, you're right. I work in politics. But
And they talk about the high rises downtown, and those high rises are for those persons that can afford them and that want them. I mean, but when you talk about rent for $8,500 a month, I mean,
if you're a
we got some
guitarist
really big
keeping Austin
spenders.
weird, you can't afford that?
You're
No.
right about that.
For the wrong party in politics.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, and that's a
I
problem.
found that out a
New
long time ago
alliances.
too, about which party's actually the party of the rich. It ain't us.
Yeah, Reagan had a saying, if it moves, government's philosophy is, if it moves, tax it. If it keeps moving, regulate it. When it stops moving, subsidize it. And what we're seeing right now with Austin is all of that in one little silly circle.
Yeah.
They're fixing what's not broken, right? They're breaking what's working.
Yeah.
And then, literally, a minute later, turning around and trying to subsidize something to make up for the thing that they just broke. And we're seeing the same on affordability in housing, right? They're doing things like the Riverside Project,
Corridor.
right? That corridor that's going to break affordability. Then they're going to take more money to go try to make something affordable that isn't actually going to be affordable. When if they had just stayed out of the whole thing all along, the market would have provided a solution that would have been better for all.
James Dickey from there.
And not only that,
It just
you know,
dawned on me.
I sat in on some of those meetings at the Riverside Corridor at the beginning. So they wanted the public's input. They wanted the community's input. But it's like, why do we come and give you the input when you do a total separate thing?
Yeah.
But really what gets to me is that after you've broken something, you go in and you hire a consultant to come in and tell you. You could have asked one of us lay persons on the
At a
street.
bad price.
That
Yeah,
is not going to work. Why would you spend that kind of money
Hey, there's your new
doing
dental.
that? It just doesn't matter.
I tried, but
That-
I'm on the
you're
wrong
talking
party.
about a waste of money.
It is. And it really is, it's frustrating because you see real people are hurt by this, right?
Yeah.
You know, I talk a lot about the theoretical, about, the principles involved,
throw
and
in
the
all this,
parties
Mo?
involved. But the reality is real people every day, they're seeing their rent go up that they can't afford it. They're having to move out of the area.
Yeah.
They're ending up with farther commutes. They're having to make really tough choices every day
Yes.
as a result of people at City Hall who at the end of the day go home feeling like they just saved the world because they created this, and
You're
they're
right,
so
they sure
proud.
did.
Yeah.
And they're so proud, and in the meantime, all these lives are left a wreck.
Yes.
We got the head of the MLK Association here at the table. What's that doing to the minority population in Austin that we love
It's
so
running-
much?
it's running them
Liberal
out.
Austin. What?
While you have a African American city manager,
Yeah.
which is the biggest joke in the world. I might as well go ahead and get myself
that
in some
much
trouble
money?
here.
I've
Well,
done that job for half price
I-
too.
Yeah, but it's just so
No, we're down to about 5
hypocritical
minutes.
to me. It seems to me that I always try to go back to basics, and some people think money can solve any problem. If money could solve any problem, we wouldn't need a military. We wouldn't have a problem in America, because throwing money at a problem does not always solve it. Sometimes it takes principles and
And
patience
common
and trust people. Just trust people to run their own affairs.
Yep.
there you go, Mike.
Just trust people to run
That's
their
it.
own affairs.
That's it.
That's
I
racist.
had to grow up to find out that I grew up in a dysfunctional home because They have regulations, when I was in South Florida, they had regulations that if you had children, if you had a boy and a girl, they had to have separate bedrooms.
Oh my gosh.
If you had two boys, they could share a bedroom. Now I grew up in a family where two boys shared a bed.
Hey, I lived in a
just saying,
barn
A twin
forever.
bed.
It was not that long
An honest to
ago.
goodness
It
barn
was
for a
4 or
while.
5 kids to a room, right? I mean, that was not long ago.
You had 2-3 sets of bunk beds.
No, we
Do
had
what you gotta do.
Or frontier cabins.
twin
It
bed,
was
one
a
at the
room.
top, one at the
right.
bottom. Full bed, 3.
And he slept outside 'cause it was so hot.
You know, but that just gets down to government regulating
Oh,
you,
yes.
not letting you regulate yourself.
Right.
Or live up to your potential.
Yes.
Right.
It's lowering
That-
the bar for everybody.
That's the thing. I mean, this expansion
That's true.
of minimum wage, the expansion we just had of if you make less than 50,000 a year, you're not you must be paid for overtime no matter what. Well, if you combine that with the crazy new minimum wage stuff, that means literally, a 16-year-old on his first job, assuming he or she can even get one, the federal government expects that fast food joint or whatever to pay that person $22.50 an hour to do whatever it is they're doing.
Well, when that $12
with no
hamburger comes
training
out.
and no degree.
$15
Yeah.
Big Mac, yeah.
No training, no degree, and they expect this to work. We can all see the train wreck coming. It's not, but they
Some
pat
of us
themselves
can
on the
anyway.
back. Yeah, they pat themselves on the back and say, "Well, aren't we sweet and aren't we nice?"
Maybe these people
And the
have a
reality
living
is,
wage.
you just put a whole bunch of people out of work, and you train the people who aren't out of work. That you don't ever do any extra effort, you don't ever try harder, you don't ever get ahead, and
Down to 2 minutes.
what's that
so,
career going to look like?
Anything you want to close out with?
Some announcements.
Well, that's Mr. Dickey or Mr.
Well,
Hogue.
we
You
have
wanna say
part of our
anything?
transition plan. We're going to replace the county chairman with a kiosk.
That might work, huh?
Yeah. I know. Hey, tell you what, check our website. Look under events at traviscountygop.org. Look for events and sign up for our email list. If you see the little email sign up form, we have a little newsletter called Week at a Glance.
I like that.
Well,
You've been doing real good there.
Well, thank
Yes,
you. You will
always.
never be bored again if you read Week at a Glance. There is always something going on in Travis County for a
Look at that.
conservative. Yes.
Well,
yeah.
and I want to take a second just say, a big public thank you to Andy Hogue. The
Andy.
party does a lot, and there are a lot of people active, but its power and impact is multiplied when people know about it, when it's communicated well, when we can recruit others to be involved, and the communication director position, when done well, and Andy's done it well, helps with that.
Okay, 1 minute left. Go for it with our announcements.
Attend the Juneteenth pageant.
Absolutely.
Be sure to check the TCRP calendar
Like
for
you just
events
said.
because many of the events that are of interest to conservatives and to conservatives are listed on the calendar, including the outreach effort. It
Absolutely.
matters.
Well, you just put TCRP on your search engine. That's all.
Oh,
and it'll-
yeah.
That's
or look
right.
up the Travis Tracker blog. We're doing a pretty good job chronicling the events.
All right, 30
we're up
seconds.
to.
Everybody have a good Memorial Day.
Yes.
Yep.
Coming up, so no show next week, and then we'll have the big meeting on Tuesday after that.
And support your candidates. Support the candidates.
That's right.
For June 6th, I
Voting
guess
tomorrow,
it is,
too.
we have
Runoff election.
Laura Presley coming on. We'll be talking about election stuff, and we got more shows coming up after that, including yours after that. 5 seconds, say goodnight, everybody.
Runoff election
Good
tomorrow.
night.
Good night.
Yeah,
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Vote tomorrow.